Good morning, everybody. How are you? It's Wednesday, April 28, 2021. Looks like you're all beaming in from all over Kansas City. Laura's on her lunch break, Rhode Island. Good morning, everybody. Oh, well, that's going to be lovely. Hold on just a second. It's Wednesday, April 28, 2021. That's fun, isn't it? Okay. Having a few tech issues because I got a new computer, which is great. It's really fast. But Macintosh has taken a bunch of ports off of their computer. So usually I would have a separate microphone and I could mute my regular computer. And I don't have enough ports. And anyway, God bless Apple. Why would you take ports away? They're so tiny. It's my only beef with this computer. Welcome, everybody. California, Vermont, Lafayette. Hi, Gail, right down the road. Palm Springs, California. Yay, Anne's starting part 3 of Warp and Weft, and she's ready to go. That's awesome, Anne. It looks like some of you are, let's see what you're doing. Warping a Cleat Loom. I don't know what that is, Tom. That sounds awesome. I'll have to look that up. Someone's on a road trip. Cool. I'm glad some of you are weaving and some of you are on lunch breaks, and we're just checking in and trying some stuff today. So, gosh, it is raining. Not raining right now, but it's odd to get so much rain in Colorado. Apparently, the entire state is in a massive drought except for the center of Larimer County, which is where I live right now, which is very weird, but I'm glad we got rain. Hello, Piri from Belgium. Glad you all are here. I have got today another, let's see if I can do this right. I'm working on this pick and pick thing again, which I worked on a couple weeks ago. And here, let me switch these around. You'd think a year in I would have this camera thing figured out, but this is what I was working on before, and I think 2 weeks seems like forever. I was up in the middle of it, and it was a little confusing. It may actually have been a third saffron loom I was working on. This is probably what I was doing. But it was a little subtle, and you all were having trouble seeing it. So I wanted to bring another pick and pick project that is a little less complicated. So let's try it. I actually made myself a diagram of what I was going to do. Yay me. I've got this little pink part down here, and this is my pick and pick plan. So we'll see how it goes. This is just telling me where I'm going to shift colors. So we'll see how far I can get today. Kathleen is, actually let's crowdsource that, Kathleen. Kathleen wants to know if I know anyone who sells Abusan bones besides Kathy Todd Hooker. I do not. She is it may have been you or may have been someone else who asked me this recently. I know there's somebody, and probably, no, I was going to say Elizabeth Buckley, and she, I think, links Kathy Todd Hooker on her website. So if anybody knows, there are undoubtedly people in France. So those of you who are here from France, if you know a shop that sells them or has them in quantity, if you could let us know, or if you're seeing this later, email me and I will let you know, Kathleen. It's a great question, and I would like to know myself. Where is a source for Abusan bones? Those are, I'm going to see if I have one here. So this is a regular tapestry bobbin, looks like this. And the Abusan bones are for low warp looms, and they don't have a point on the other end. I don't have one right here on my table, but yeah, someone will know where to get them. Perhaps in Europe, if no one else. Bobbin Boy makes these kind of bobbins. Oh, she does make, that might be a good idea, Karen. We could try Melissa at Bobbin Boy. This is not one of her bobbins. She has made, this is one of Melissa's. So she makes beautiful bobbins, and I think she has attempted to make Abusan bones. I don't know how standard they are, but if you don't care, or she is really great at adjusting what she does for people who need something special. Welcome, Lee, from cold and rainy London. Glad you're here. Yeah, Laura, that's a good idea. We could check Weaver's Bazaar. I don't recall them having them, but they might, because it's in Europe, or they might know someone. I'll keep poking around. Some of you have really done some searching, and if I find anything, I'll let you know. My teacher, James Kohler, had hundreds and hundreds of them that he had somebody make, and I don't know where he got them, and he has passed away, so I can't ask him, but maybe someone who worked with him remembers where he got those bobbins, bones. Okay, so pick and pick. Let's get this a little, I apologize for the angle of the camera. I'm going to try to weave sideways so that it looks better for you. I have 2 rows of pick and pick. So pick and pick, most of you know, is a 2, it's not a meet and separate technique, it's a 2 color technique. So I have this mauve and blue. This is 8 ends per inch on a Mirrix Saffron loom, and I have the extended bar on it, obviously, which is my very favorite. You'll seldom see me using this loom without it, because it is so great with the extra long bar. Let's just do some pick and pick. I chose to do this again because I've had multiple questions in the last couple of weeks about pick and pick in my online classes, and especially shaped pick and pick, and I have thought maybe other people have the same questions. So I'm alternating, obviously, the 2 colors. And here's what one of the questions I got this week, or last week, was the edges. So if you're not careful, if you make the pick and pick go all the way to the edge and you're not careful, if you pull this tight, you're going to see that little cross at the edge. So one of the tricks is to actually leave a loop there. Actually, on the other side, we'll do that. Here, it's fine if I pull it under, because the pink is covering the second one in, not the first one. The trick is not to pull it too tightly, so that it's real easy with pick and pick for your edges to sneak right in. So I'm always trying to make sure I get enough weft tension there. Right now I'm just doing it straight, so you can see how that looks, and then I'm going to start adding the curves I have on my little plan. It's garbage day in Fort Collins. You probably can't hear that, but right now is the time. There's someone needs to invent a garbage truck that picks up yard waste, recycling, and garbage, because there are 3 separate trucks for those 3 separate things. And then tomorrow there's a whole nother company that gets my neighbor's stuff. So there's got to be a better way. First of all, we should have less trash, but there's got to be a better way for picking it up. And I do appreciate the service that someone comes and gets my trash. That is kind of a miracle. Okay, here's the thing I was talking about. So I'm alternating, so I need this one next. But I want to leave a little loop. The pink one needs to cover the edge. And so the biggest trick on pick and pick, which sometimes I guess if you haven't done it a lot or you don't realize, it's just to watch where these stripes go. So make sure that the blues all line up and the pinks all line up, and you'll have a much easier time. Even when you're doing shaped things, so even when it starts to move into some kind of a curve, if you make sure that the stripes are doing what you want, it can be really helpful. So here, if I pull this tight, obviously I'm going to see that on the front. I'm working from the front in this case, so I'm going to leave a little loop there, and I'm fairly generous in that loop. I know, it's shocking, right? So beat that in, and then it's going to get fixed right here when the blue comes back. See how that's going to pull it under? I actually seldom do pick and pick all the way to the edge because of that, but in this case I am. Also, if this piece gets mounted, it can be mounted in a way that makes sure that those little edges are tucked to the back. So there we have, it's an obviously even number of warps because I have pink on one side and blue on the other. All right, so my little plan has a curve coming down, and I'm actually going to weave all of this just with pick and pick to make that curve. Summer, yes, I apologize for that. Here, let's do this. Summer's saying it's hard to see the colors. Is that better? I am going to use white, Summer. I actually chose white for the middle portion, but I'm not there yet. I'm sorry. I hope that light helps. You're right. It is hard to see. Okay, let's do shaped. So that was the second big question that I get a lot, is how to do shaped pick and pick, which means I just use that to mean pick and pick that isn't in a rectangular form, which would be the most usual way you would do pick and pick, right? I mean, we practice it in squares maybe, but in a piece, you're probably going to use it in a non-rectangular form. I teach that shaped bit in the color gradation class. This shaped bit. Okay. Just going to eyeball this design. Let's go here. Catherine wants to know, any plans to teach in person in the works? There's always plans in the works, but COVID has sure been a knucklehead, hasn't it? I have canceled all of my 2021 in-person workshops, so I don't have anything in 2021. However, I do have some other ideas, which I won't talk about now, but I will be teaching, hopefully the next workshop I will be teaching is in January in New Mexico. And I'm hoping 2022 will be a better year. So I realized as I set this up that it would be really great if this were on a pipe loom, because the pipe loom, I could flip it over and show you what it looks like on the back. So I might do a part 2 coming up about on a pipe loom so that I can show you both sides. That might be fun. So here's the deal with pick and pick, is that even though I'm going to take the blue color up into the next section, well, I could do it 2 ways. I could do the 2 sections separately, or I could continue the blue and add the other background color. Which way should we do it? They would both work. Catherine, I don't know yet. It's a good question. She wants to know who the New Mexico workshop will be for, and I just don't know. It's just too far out for me to be able to plan any of that. I'm really sorry. That particular workshop is it's in a place where I don't have a lot of leeway, so there's a set number of people, and yeah. Anyway, I will let you know, but that it is possible that that won't be open to anyone who is not an alumni, but I don't know. Sorry. How to do the pick and pick. Let's see. Well, let's do it this way because of Summer's question. We'll see if it works. I might get, we'll use white, Summer, so that you can see what I'm doing. So everyone can see what I'm doing, not just you. Me included. I've still not gotten to the optometrist. But one more month and I will be immortal. Not really immortal, but I will have 2 vaccines. So then I will go to the optometrist. So here's what I'm trying to decide is whether I'm going to just build the shape or since the whole thing will be pick and pick going forward, I'm going to see if we can show you this with white. So this is the continuation of the pink or mauve, whatever color that is, pick in white. So now I've covered that whole row and I'm going to go back and fill in the blue. I want the blue to continue and the other color to change. And like I said, I could have done those 2 areas separately, or since the blue is continuing and that color isn't changing, I could do it this way. So let's try it this way. Okay. I want this shape to go, and I didn't draw it on, I want it to kind of go like this. So I'm thinking about that in my head as I place this white. And then this is where you get all these messy floats in this technique. I'm just pulling this one. This had to float on the back. Let's see if you can see that. This one will float on the back there. That is where a pipe loom would be nice because you can weave from both sides on a pipe loom if you warp it in a way that there's only one layer of warp. Okay, blue. And of course you have to remember to put your wefts to the back. Oh, yeah, this is where I'm going to get screwed up. This is why I didn't do it this way. Because it's a 2 thing process. I might be wrong. Let's see. I thought that was going to be weird, but maybe it isn't. I'm having trouble with my bubbling today. Word to all of you who struggle with it. Some days it's just not quite. Some days are like this. Just keep fussing with it. When it probably really wouldn't make a difference. Yeah, Paula, that's a good. I show in the book, I'm talking about pick and pick with vertical. Oh, I don't think I've ever shown pick and pick with a weft interlock. Are you sure it's pick and pick? I've stitched pick and pick on the edges, but it's because pick and pick is not a meet and separate technique. It doesn't work well. See, I wrote the book. I'm pretty sure that I didn't do that, Paula, but tell me a page number and I'll look it up. Tell me a page number anyway, because I want to see what you mean. If you have the book handy. If not, I'll look it up later and put it in the notes. Oh, see what I did there? Okay, so talking and working. I obviously want this to be white and not. So let's decide where we're going to take this out. Let's bring this out here. And then the white is there because Basically, the white and the pink are completing the same row. Okay, so if I want the white to go on this warp, I have to go over one more. Oh, I have to come up. The float has to come up one more over. See if I can make that stop. I don't know if you all can hear that, but the camera is attempting to focus and makes me nervous because I'm like, oh, they can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so there's the white portion and the pink mauve portion. This is my mother's favorite color. I think she calls it mauve. Not sure that's right, but it is a red, what would we call it? It's almost a red violet, isn't it? Here's the, here. It's not red. It's definitely a red violet. Huh. Who knew? Okay, so someone asked how much ease. So the ease here, and I think you mean at the edge. So the loop is fairly large, and you just have to play with it because it might be different depending on the yarn you're using and the set. But let's see if you can see that. Yeah, see how much that much ease pulls it around. So this is counterintuitive to leave a huge loop like that, but it pulls it to the back. And then I'm gonna bring the blue all the way across. Summer, I could make this easier on myself by, I'm not sure if it would necessarily be easier, but I could have had 2 blues. If I'd had 2 blues, I could have built up this curve first and then done the other part separately. It's kind of nice to do it this way because the blue is consistent across and there won't be a float, but there are a lot of times in a pattern with pick and pick where you can't do this. Yeah, apparently my peanut gallery is telling me that I'm saying mauve wrong. It's mauve. Okay, here's the book. Here's the book we're talking about. Paula wants to know, page 210. Paula, thank you so much for the page reference. I did write this book, I swear. However, two picks. So this, oh, I see what you mean. It's this page over here. We're looking at, you all probably, oh, here. How about this? This will be better. We're looking at this page, vertical stripe patterns. And so double weft interlock. Interesting that it ended up on this page. So that is just a tech talk box that I needed somewhere in this chapter. Basically, I'm saying in that box that I don't use it. I'm not showing it to you in this book. People in the US who weave from the front don't really use double weft interlock. It is far easier to do from the back. So that is something no one has pointed out about this book, but that particular tech talk box doesn't relate to the pick and pick part of the chapter that it's in. I would not do double weft interlock. It's impossible to do double weft interlock, I think, with pick and pick, but I could be wrong. It's not something I've done anyway. Peanut gallery, yes. Mauve is apparently how you say that word. Okay, let's start making this steeper. So I've got a white one there. I'm going to want a white one there. So this one just pulls the blue to the back because the blue's already coming over the front of that warp, and so the white can just pull it to the back. That works great. There's another pick and pick edge treatment that you sometimes need with an even number of warps where you wrap the edge the way I have this going, it's working fine, but if the wefts were going in the other direction, it's possible I would need to do it that other way. Okay, so I want this to cover this warp, so I'm just going to do this and then pull this up. Paula, that's a great question, and I'm going to look at that further after we get off of this live thing, but I'll put a better my thoughts about it better on the website page. It's a great question. I suppose it is possible that you could use double weft interlock at the edge of pick and pick because pick and pick is a single direction. Maybe double weft interlock moves in the same direction, and pick and pick also does. But the two wefts versus the usual one weft is a complication, and I don't know. If you did the interlock every other sequence, it might work. It's a great question. Okay, blue. Hey, look, I'm not screwing this up too bad today. This is that yarn, that tapestry yarn that is, I still can't tell you about, but I'm so excited when it does come out. You'll hear me talk about it. It's a new tapestry yarn in the United States, which I think is going to be really lovely. Soon, sometime soon. All right, we're on to this. I just had this weird feeling my phone was going to make noise and I didn't turn it off. Mauve is lighter, call it cranberry. Good. Okay, so my color training wants to call this a dusty red violet because I feel like it's really helpful for us to use the same language when we talk about color, but it's really hard, isn't it? Okay. My brain is thinking about where to move this white. I don't want that hill to be too shallow, but I also don't want it to be too steep. So with pick and pick, when you're making, a hill, it can start to get jaggedy because there's, the colors only move every other. The white's only moving every other. I'm going to put it here. I'm not going to like the step. Okay. I have you can't see this, but I have a open shed rod at the top of this loom. So in this shed, I can just do this. It's fast. I was experimenting with how I tied this on here and I don't actually like it. I won't do this again. I usually wrap it around the saffron like this so that this piece of yarn comes down. This is so perfectionistic, but I want these two doubled warps to be exactly next to each other. So if I had wrapped this around the top, that would be coming right there. Anyway, this is an open shed rod, which makes it much quicker to get this in. Okay, blue all the way. There will, that's a great point, Paula. There almost always in pick and pick will be slits between the pick and pick section and the other color because most of your other weaving is working in meet and separate and your pick and pick section is not meet and separate. It's two picks in the same direction. So if you're finding that you have slits between your pick and pick sections and your other sections, that is what you should have. This is just a pattern that it turns out I could do this with the blue, but normally I wouldn't have something like this. If this were a solid color, I would have a separate butterfly of the blue. Okay. on this pick, I'm going to make it one more bit complicated by, this will be the center of the hill. Does my blue go all the way through? No. Okay, so in my little plan, I'm going to change the blue to, the white goes all the way through. I'm going to change the blue to this hot pink, which should be interesting. I only have 3 colors of this yarn. I have this color, I actually have white also, and a blue. I will be getting more pretty soon, and then white. So it's a challenge in design. Okay. I'll show you what I mean as soon as I get a piece of pink here. Which really I guess I should call a light red, or it's red, it's just a light value. Cheryl, no, that's a great question. I have not done that yet, but that is, she asked if I have filmed warping a saffron loom. That is high on my list coming next. I'm going to add a video to the little looms course about warping the saffron. Okay, so right there, I already know that's wrong because, oh, I might be thinking about this wrong. I need a white. I want the blue to turn to white and the mauve to turn to pink. So I need another blue. This is a situation where I do need another piece of blue. Is that right? Yeah. This is why I drew this out, because this one got a little complicated. Here, I'll show you the drawing again for those of you who care. Those of you who don't, just hang on a second. So right here, this is the pink. So I'm doing this section with blue and red violet, dusty red violet. Here's where the white is, white and the blue continued. Here I want to shift the blue to pink. So this line will turn to pink and the background will be white. So one of the colors for this whole section will be white, and then here it will be blue and here it will be pink. A little bit complicated, but not impossible. Yes, you are right, Barbara. I'm not supposed to talk about it yet. I don't think. Okay, so I need the blue to go here because I'm looking at the stripe combinations, and I need actually the blue to take the place of the, oh my gosh, is this right? The blue turns to pink and the mauve turns to white. Nope, I was right the first time. Where's the... Ah! Why do I even have blue at all? I'm so sorry, you guys. There's not even blue in this section. This is the joy of trying to figure out what you're doing live. I hope you all are having fun, whatever you're weaving. Also, it would be really great if I had yarn figured out ahead of time. So yes, I will be doing just a warping video on this. There's a few ways to warp the saffron loom, and none of them are wrong. I just have my own personal preferences, so I'll do a video talking about the different ways, but I'm sure my own biases will come out, but I will tell you why I am biased, and you can make your own decisions. All right, let me just think about this again. The blue is turning to white. So to make that happen, no, the blue is turning to pink. That's how I got it wrong. Okay, so the white goes in here, and here's where it gets a little more complicated, because this edge blue is only going to go to where that comes in. And then I need the pink. And then we'll look to see if I got it right. Okay. Gonna do this. Okay, I think I've got it. So in my pattern, the blue turns to pink. So there I see the blue turns to pink, and the dusty red violet is turning to white, which is what will be on the edge. Let's just do this. Almost pulled that out. Should have put a pigtail on that maybe. I don't use a lot of pigtails because I tend to not need them with the yarns I use, but it's annoying when you pull your Weft yarns out accidentally. Okay, that's gonna work. And then let's put, this might end up looking like a little tiny bit of, it's just like one, no, let's do two. So two more spots of that violet, and then that will be done. And then the white comes in there. There is the one thing you can't see that, but there is some twist in this loom, which is the one thing that mostly doesn't bother me, but occasionally I'm like, ugh. Wish it didn't twist. Betcha I'm not gonna like that. You can see why, right? I'm gonna have a whole line of the white right there. So this is part of the evaluation as you go. And maybe I don't always follow my cartoon either, because sometimes you don't see, especially curves, you don't see it until you've woven it, and you need to adjust and not necessarily just follow the cartoon blindly. So that means I wanted that white to go. Oh, hang on. I want the white to cover this one. Okay. So we do it like this. That just means my float came up in the wrong place. So now I'm going to have a white dot there, and hopefully that will cover. Catherine asks, what do you do when it twists? I have started tightening the bottom nut with pliers, but there's no way to stop the twist all the way. It's just a physics thing. It's because obviously it only has a central support, and so it's going to twist no matter what you do. If the warp is fairly tight, it will twist less. In fact, I could even, it's been a little while since so here's how you tighten this. I loosen this top one, and I'm actually putting it against my stomach to brace it. And then, so this one is loose, and the one underneath I'm tightening. That's pushing the top of the loom up, which is making the warp tighter, which I can do. I have not woven in this for 2 weeks. So, and then I just tighten the top one down. So that does help if the warp is tighter, but it still twists a little bit. honestly, I've woven on this sitting on my deck and on my couch and traveling and stuff, and it mostly doesn't bother me, but okay. Oh, Jamie says she replaced the flat nuts with wing nuts. That's a good idea too. That gives you a little more control. And that's easy to do. The ones on the bottom, you could use wing nuts instead. Anyway, okay, so this is really fun to weave and I could keep going, but I will show you what happens with this at another moment. I appreciate those of you who don't mind me thinking out loud. It's nice of you to be so kind. And cool. Okay, good. I'm glad some of that was helpful. I don't, pick and pick is really fun. When I glance at this, I'm like, oh, I don't like the white, but we'll see. I'm just going to follow it through and we'll see when it's all done. It's such a small piece, we'll call it a sample. I hope you all are well, that you're having a great spring, that the sun is out, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, you're having a great fall. And I will see you in, I can't remember the date, but about 2 weeks. And I will post it all on the Instagram stuff. If you're weaving things, use that change the shed hashtag that is up there. If you use Instagram, that would be really fun to see what everybody's weaving. And that's about yeah, cool. Okay, just checking your thoughts. Thanks you all. Paula, I will look more carefully at that question from the book, which I think is an interesting one, and I will put that on the Change the Shed page on my website, my thoughts about that. So cool. Thanks you all. Have a really great week, and I'll see you either on the interwebs or in a couple weeks. Go make a ruckus.